Hey everyone, Skull902 here, and today I'm going to be starting my Sonic 3 and Knuckles playthrough as Knuckles. Well, you know, as I said at the start of Sonic's playthrough, there's 4 selectable character slots. There's Sonic by himself, Sonic with Tails, Tails by himself, and Knuckles. And so I'm choosing Knuckles because not only does he have different abilities than Sonic, but also his levels change a bit too. There's one of the different abilities right there in action. Knuckles can punch through walls, leading him a lot of times into paths that Sonic couldn't normally access, so that's cool. And as you can see by me doing the special stages here, that I am in fact going to go for all the Super Emeralds like I did with Sonic. It really wouldn't make too much sense to go for the Super Emeralds as Sonic and not do it as Knuckles. So, it's all good. All good in the hood, homies. But yeah, so Sonic 3 Knuckles, Knuckles' playthrough doesn't really have too much of a storyline, unlike the Sonic one, which even though that was story light, whatever. Knuckles does get a cutscene at the start of Sonic and Knuckles, which I'll show in the extra video, where he's just chilling, but it's in Mushroom Hill, of course, since it's Sonic and Knuckles. And then the EggRobo, who is the villain of this story, just kind of starts fucking shit up and gets Knuckles annoyed, and then Knuckles is just like, I should go kick that guy's ass. So, that's pretty much the story of that. There's just one EggRobo that survived Sky Sanctuary Zone during Sonic's run, and Knuckles needs to go beat him up because I guess he rounded up some old badniks and whatnot and started causing trouble. Speaking of which, there's been like a bit of a thing about this, but Knuckles' story in this game takes place after Sonic's, at least in my opinion, because like you see things like in the background here. Once you see more of it like this, you'll notice if you compare it to Sonic's that's like there's no ocean in the background, so it's clear that Angel Island is in the sky during this part. So yeah, in my personal opinion, and from what it seems to have been indicated, Knuckles' story takes place after Sonic's, which is weird because, well, not that being weird, I think it makes sense, but the Sonic 4 writers, whoever came up with that game, thought that Sonic and Knuckles somehow were having their 3 and K adventure at the same time, which makes no sense to me because, Knuckles would have needed time to set up all those traps with Eggman in order to, get Sonic. So, it's clear to me that Knuckles was hanging out with Eggman throughout most of Sonic's run in 3 and Knuckles, and is fighting the EggRobo by himself here. So, Sega, I need an answer, Sega. But nah, it's fine. It's just something that didn't make too much sense, and Sonic 4 isn't gonna be, releasing any more episodes anyway, so we can all forget about it. We can all forget about that little discrepancy in the story and whatnot. Continuity in Sonic. Oh man, been a lot of continuity snarls in Sonic, but that one seems to be a particularly big one in my opinion. But again, whatever, just forget about it and move on. Knuckles, you might have seen, or say again, if you compare to the way things are in Sonic's story, whenever you see Knuckles, his palette, like his overall look, is a little bit different in Sonic's cutscenes compared to this. So Knuckles in Sonic's cutscenes is like a lighter shade of red, and his socks are yellow. And that had to do with the heads-up display. The palette of the heads-up display couldn't like display Knuckles at his correct colors, so that's why we get yellow sock, slightly pink Knuckles instead of his colors that he was designed with, the green socks, the darker shade of red. You know, shit like that. Palette was also one of the reasons why Knuckles couldn't be put into Sonic 1, but that's, again, that's all for the extras video, so stay tuned for that whenever that comes about. Also, in the life display, we see his initials are KTE, not like his full name, Knuckles, like it is for Sonic and Tails. That's because only 5 characters can fit there, and that's why that's like that. But shit, we couldn't get up there, and now Knuckles has to break through the wall that was set up there in order to fight the mini-boss. Which, all of the bosses were slightly tweaked for Knuckles. God, I can't believe I got hit there. In the fucking residue of the explosion, but I believe this one, like, he shoots the fire faster, or he shoots more bombs or something. Not entirely sure, but as you can see, this is completely new territory for Knuckles. And so that, like, this is going to be kind of a thing throughout this run, is that some acts or some zones will just be very much different from the way that we went through them as Sonic. This one, of course, being the one to demonstrate that, Act 2 is completely different from Sonic's. Like, only the very end is an area that would be familiar. So Knuckles just, you know, going through more of a platforming challenge in this. He stays inside this mountain, I guess, and has to deal with a lot of spikes, a lot of Rhinobots, slow-moving platforms, you know, shit like that. I believe that there's also a water section somewhere in here that we don't see it in this particular run-through. That fire shield will be helpful for the boss, but it's the only one in the act, so you gotta be careful. Unless, of course, you get the right bonus game and you could possibly get a fire shield from it. I like to play it safe, because, again, you know, it's the only fire shield, and say if I went into that bonus game and got a different shield, things would obviously be different. So yeah, again, just it's more platformy than Sonic's Act 2, and definitely more difficult is something I would say. They made Knuckles kind of to be the the hard mode of the game. So like Knuckles has a lower jump. The level designs, obviously, especially the changed ones, are more difficult than Sonic's, but made it through, especially with the fire shield, which is a good thing. And unfortunately, I failed to do that trick with the boss again, so oof. I could have hit him there, but you know, whatever. This guy isn't too terribly hard to take out. His difference is that he shoots the fire faster than Robotnik, so you know, watch out for that. But yeah, so that's Angel Island cleared. So good stuff indeed. And I will see you all in part 2. Thanks for watching.
Cool. Now it's my turn to star in a series of machinima skits.